Alrighty, yo, hey guys, Beast back with some more Beastly content. So today this is going to be the Croup docks build. Now, some of you may be confused because you're not normally allowed to build at the Croup docks. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if it's really there normally, but we are able to build here today due to the boat mod that we did showcase in the last video. That was the mod with the drivable boats mod. It also gives you a new workshop location. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. We cover the whole thing. We show you where to get all the magazines for the mod, everything. If you want boats in this game, this is the mod for you. Also, I mean, even if you don't want boats and you never use boats, this is a great workshop location. And it doesn't edit the Croup Manor one. I did see one where it edited Croup Manor and made it where the entire Croup Island was Croup Manor settlement. But I liked this one because it made it two separate settlements, so that I didn't have to have the bank and the bar that needs to send its money to the bank in the same settlement, because I didn't like it. I don't want Fallon's to be the primary bank of the Commonwealth at this current point. There will be another bank that is going to outdo Fallon's, but for now, Fallon's is definitely the primary bank, and it's definitely the primary bank for Croup Island. I do want to be doing more on Croup Island, unfortunately. I'd like to go and just redo the church lightly, and then just have maybe the Children of the Atom there or something. I'm not sure yet. But I'd just lightly like to touch up on the church, nothing too heavy. And then also maybe the houses nearby, I'd like to touch up on those as well. But currently, they're not settlements. But as you can see here, this is the counter area here, and then the back kitchen area. This was a bar/restaurant back in the day. It has the sign outside still. So I went ahead and just went with that theme, and we built another ocean / I guess riverside, whatever this is, ocean or river that we're by right now. But this body of water we're by, Waterside bar/restaurant. So at first I was going to put the power generator inside, but it just took up too much space and I wanted to leave that alone. I do not mind having the nuclear reactor just out here for the vaults. It is inside this settlement, which you will see. We did eventually have to build some fences. Every single time, for some reason, at least in my own game, that I loaded into this settlement, new enemies would spawn. So I ended up building, well, you'll see, a pretty decent defense solution. And then as you can see here, we did put tables up top and down below, just creating the little dining area place for the restaurant itself. And every single time I send settlers here, they instantly sit down at the restaurant and they're just ready to dine. They know what's up. They know this place is the tops. So as you can see here, these little red and white Institute chairs, if you've seen those there real quickly, are wonderful. I think they added a great look. Also, I found some jail sale things in the fences, I think, on CVC that apart to my interest a little bit, because I am going to be doing a prison build soon, and I did start work on that now. And then as you can see here, this here is a, I think, fisherman's boat. We ended up just leaving it here. The boats, one, I have a couple complaints about the drivables mod. First of all, drivables in settlements in general are buggy, so they like to glitch out and kind of try and fly away sometimes if you try and build too many of them. So we really only did 2 boats here. I was going to do like a full dock build, but it just is not worth it with this mod because you can't even stand on the boats. You can ride them if you jump into them and click ride, but you also fall through them, so there's just really no way to ride them. And then also if you're underwater, it will say you can't get in the boat, but you fall through the boat when you jump on it, so you just kind of got to click it as you're jumping on it. It's a cool mod. The boats are fun to drive around in, and they do look nice, but as for standing on them in general is not usually the best. I will say that. As you can see here, we took off the entire house's original roof. I was going to try and redo it, but I just couldn't find anything that had that angle of a roof to it, and I didn't feel like looking forever. We ended up with these CVC pier roofs, which I thought looked actually really good in the end. It really gave it like a restaurant-y theme. It's like a red roofed restaurant up there. I like it. I think it actually goes along with the pier too. We did have to use one of those CVC pier things on the side. And then we also went through here, and we tried a couple different things. I think we ended up going with like these little prefab other things here. It wasn't the triangle piece though. It was this thing. So it was just like a CVC cover thing along the top, which actually I think looked really nice. Then we also used these little awning looking things on the windows. This was extra. I didn't really have to do this, and I don't know. I think it adds more flow to the settlement. I like it. And then of course we put some benches outside too. We did do this place up very, very nicely. I think we might be showing the next boat that we build, but I think we had to build it twice because this is the first settlement build I've ever done to where I've died multiple times, and purely due to radiation from the water. When I'm working on boats and things, I'll get too enthralled with the boat building mod, and I'll just keep sitting there in the water with 10 radiation building up. And eventually it'll kill you, and you'll be dead, and then you'll have to restart on your settlement build that you were doing because you got too caught up in the boats. But as you can see here, Starlight Drive-In has been where we've been pulling the settlers from. We put a recruitment beacon up here, but for whatever reason it is, they just were not showing up here. I don't know if maybe the recruitment beacon is so close to my Croup Manor that it's just automatically recruiting the Croup Manor. And if I go to Croup Manor, I have a ton of settlers there now, which is a very possible thing, because when I built a robot here for the resources outside being the food, because I like to have a food robot, it did seem like it was pulling the robots from Croup Manor to the robot workshop thing. And then, of course, ATM out here. We stuck a banker at the bar. It seemed fitting to me. Maybe the bankers at Croup Manor take shifts, and when they're off shift, they go down to the bar, they get wasted, and then when it's time to go back to work, they head back to work, and they swap out, and this is just how it is. It's like a vacation place. Now, we did get living quarters put up for the people who do work here. We have 4 people inside. We have 3 bartenders, and we have the bank teller, and then there's also going to be 3 people working here and 1 robot in the future. We were going to do more docks and more boats along this side, but I couldn't really find another pier piece. And then when we tried the other sized boat, it turned out to be such a large boat that we could just stick it on the side of the docks and be cool with it. But this right here is shack foundations. We built a little 4x4 shack thing here for the I'm going to say this is for this fisherman's hut, and then it's also for the boat workshop place where we just have the little boat crafting area where you can make parts for your boats and stuff. That's where I stuck those at, and we also decorated that in a little bit. You'll see in a second. Originally, I tried to do like these large crates looking like they were sitting on the boat, but unfortunately, this boat just is constantly moving, and sometimes it'll get stuck way up in the air. It just 90.9% of the time, it just looked weird having like wooden boxes there with like the boat moving around them. So we ended up not doing that. It would have been cool to be able to add some cargo to the boat. That's what I originally was intending for this area. And then as you can see here, we ended up having to just do that for the floors because these pieces had their own floors, and it just, I don't remember why, but it caused some weird issues, so we did that. But as you can see there, those are the boat workshop tool benches. That is where you are going to be building your parts for your boats. That is the main part for the mod. But as you can see here, I think the next thing we built was a sailboat. And like I said, the sailboat is by far the biggest boat here. And I do believe that this is actually the part where we died building the sailboat. As you can see here, this is what I'm talking about. See, you can get into it, but then when you get out of it, 1, it instantly drops you in the water. And 2, if you're working on it the entire time, moving it around in there, you can gain radiation extremely quickly without even realizing it and die. Like right here, we got out of the boat, boom, more radiation there. We built some fences here, but once again, I think these were lost, but we did eventually come back and redo these. It only took going in the water like 1 more time and we were done for here. It might be here. We might not have fallen in the water here. I know, yeah, there we go. We definitely died. Yeah, here we go. And we dropped. So, back to the game. Well, let's do it. The thing is almost completed. We just had to decorate this outside pier, and we don't have any of the settlement defense or the living quarters for the settlers done. The 4 settlers that have to work here at the bar and restaurant, and then the 3 that tend to stuff outside, which you will see in a minute. I think you can guess what I did. I've mentioned in a couple videos that I wanted to use this resource for a long time in a settlement aside from like 1 or 2, and I didn't use that many even still. But it is a dock right next to water, so you know there's probably going to be people fishing here, and CVC does have a resource that allows them to fish for food. So as you can see, 3 fishing chairs here. Then we went back to Starlight, we recruited 3 new settlers, all the way over to Croup Docks, and boom, we were on our way. Like I said, spawned in more enemies. I think this might be the point where we finally decided it was time to build ourselves a junk fence. So we built what was basically just a junk fence around the entire front side of the settlement, so that the only other accessible area to the settlement besides the front gate, which was heavily guarded with turrets and such, was going to be the water. And there's not really any naval enemies at this point. I might try and find a mod to add naval enemies, Because it'd be wonderful to have naval enemies show up at the back of the dock and start attacking us, and maybe even land on our docks and come in and raid us, but I just don't know if that's even possible with modding. It should be. I know there's a Drivables of the Commonwealth where you can randomly run into enemies that drive cars. That's pretty interesting. But I do not know if that exists for the boats or not. It should, seeing as how it's for the cars, but it might be a little bit different of a mechanics, and the cars do seem to work a lot better than the boats do. The boats work fine in functionality, but first of all, I should be able to stand on the boat when I get on it. That's just something that I don't know what else to tell you, but as you can see here, we just use CVC Countrymen's. These are Trailer Park Workshops. It's like a DLC add-on for the CVC thing. It's free DLC for the CVC mod. It's in the other files, and then you can add all the DLCs. This is the Trailer Park Workshop. It just adds little trailers. I couldn't actually find any actual doors that are meant for these, so we just ended up going with these wooden shack doors, and they're all different colors, and I like how it turned out overall. We literally just stuck some cheap beds in them because, I mean, they're living in what are campers right now, so I really don't know what else they're expecting to get out of there but a cheap bed. We might go through and do a full video over decorating these campers and maybe tie some other stuff into it. But I do believe that is about all. So if you enjoyed the video, leave a like on it, subscribe if you're not already, and keep it beast mode, guys. I'm out. See ya.